Anyways, after the narrator was able to successfully get the Costa Rica thing out of the way, the Russian front lines are now being separated, with the Indians making a giant pushback. This is coming, especially after the end of the Chinese wars against Japan, with the Japanese making peace deal with them to concentrate on trying to push out the Russians. Russia, meanwhile, will hold in the island of Hokkaido, with them making small gains in the north. Meanwhile, Russia would continue some pushes, so not many, with the Japanese puppeting Indonesia to help with further pushes, with them making gains on the north on Luzon and preparing for a push into Manila. Okay, so Luzon was just this island. No, it turned out interesting. Anyways, yeah, with Russia would, however, split up the Pontogen front line into two, with them making pushes on both sides to try to collapse the government. Soon, by September 1946, the peace deal was given, with Nanjing taking over the western side, with Russia making some gains in the east to try to make it easier trip to make the trips between Vladivostok and the western European land easier. Along with that, hoping to just simply stop any potential Chinese or attacks from the Asia from potentially taking over Vladivostok or pushing east to disrupt the Trans-Siberian Railway. With Russia by September of 1946 preparing for some of the last few pushes to try to finish off the Japanese. I was gonna say Chinese, but no, different. Japan is not. China is not at war with Russia. The narrator, I think, is dying. Am I dying? Oh dear. Anyways, a national serious note. Nanjing government had declared war on the Chen Qing government. I realized you did not hear the thing I did. There. Perfection. Down 10. Meanwhile, America attacked Cuba. I think just because they can't fight against the Third International a whole lot, so they're just fighting another country. Meanwhile, battle across the front lines would occur between Nanjing and the Chongqing, with the Chongqing winning, with them making rapid gains, taking Sun Tzu, Sun, trying to split off the front line between the northern area and the southern area, with them also making gains down south, with them also trying to make gains on Guangzhou, and by November separating northern and southern Nanjing. The US would also, on November of 1946, declare war on Panama, hoping to connect the land from South America to North America. They surely never could. I mean, I guess it can't, because they can't attack from through Panama, so it should be fine. Well, about this whole war, yeah, the war not doing exactly the best, with the Chongqing making small but still gains against the Nanjing. So in certain areas they were losing. So with the coming is actually invading Chongqing government. Alright then. Meanwhile, the US would annex Panama, with America preparing a puppet state, and in December releasing the puppet state. Meanwhile, around then, both wars would slowly start to reach more. We start to see less and less gains. So with the still losing some ground, it was hoped that they could collapse, and with that both sides could maybe see a massive amount of gains against the other. Oh, and of course the war just ends. As here, why are they even part of the Chinese United Front? There's literally no one they're uniting against. As it turned out, they don't even need someone to unite against to form a united front. Because I don't even get what they're united. What is the united? Oh, I guess the Germans. I guess. Maybe. I don't know, I feel like they might be doing a war against the... Yeah, it's against the German East Asia. So, there's that, I guess. I guess that's what this war is all about. Alright then. Meanwhile, between Russia and Japan, not much has happened. In Argentina, would also see not a whole lot happening between the Third International and the Entente. Overall, the road was slowly getting to more and more of a stalemate, with small gains in Burma, but not anything to collapse the German East Asia. In April 1947, Japan would do a naval invasion in Johor, with them making gains against the German in Sumatra, with them making small gains, hoping to split the island in half, with them doing another naval invasion station in Aceh. Soon, the German East Asia would see its forces slowly wither along the portion of the front. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, both sides would see fighting in the island of Luzon, so with no side gaining a total domination of the island. Overall, as more time goes by, neither side will be able to make any big gains, except for certain gains, which are somewhat big. Okay, but the whole kind of just record and typo stuff worked a little bit better earlier on, to be honest, because I kind of semi-narrative way. I mean, not really. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. But it did work a little bit better when, a lot of stuff recurring. Now it's just kind of waiting to see what's going to occur. I mean, I guess they're going to take Port D off. I don't mean, I guess if you want to see what's happened and have an explanation as things go on, don't want to have a sudden jump, which I sometimes don't really like, then I guess this is good. Right now I'm just kind of waiting to see if, yeah, it's starting to feel like this is just starting to turn to another stalemate. Yeah. As more time go by, first of all, we still have this in front, which I kind of forgot about, with these borders. Meanwhile, the Japanese pretty much are now in a good position to attack against the Germans, as they are slowly advancing in Malaysia, with them hoping to try to collapse the German front line to Singapore, hoping to collapse the Germans. So as more time passed on, all sides would see small gains, would see only small gains, with the front line slowly starting to become like more and more permanent, at least in Malaysia. So in Sumatra, the Germans have been making gains, with them hoping to push the Japanese out of Sumatra with Indonesia. Meanwhile, Japanese Korea, while would lose some land, would prepare for attempted holdout, with them hoping to try to hold out against the Russians. So right now they're still, and by October, the Russians have made big breakthroughs, with them quickly taking over northeastern Korea, with them continuing on to like Hung and down to near Wonsan. Overall, Russia would begin to get more and more of Korea, with the Japanese being forced back along certain areas along Malaysia and Sumatra, with the Germans preparing for one last push to push them into the island of Java. As the situation for Japan started to get worse and worse as time go on, because while their lines have made gains against the Russians' attempted push into India, they're still having problems in Korea, with the Russians making small gains, and while the push would stop by then, they would still control all Guangdong and part of Yangtze. With the Japanese forces in Sumatra being forced all the way to the corner of Sumatra, the forces in Malaysia being forced into only the areas near Kuala Lumpur. Germany would attempt to make invasions against the Communist National Front, but none of them successful. With all sides seeing the front line start to turn more and more to a stalemate, with the Japanese, however, making some gains, so not many gains. The Japanese would attempt a new invasion near Vladivostok, but it would fail, with them slowly getting pushed out of the Vladivostok region. Meanwhile, in South America, not really that surprising to hear that there have not been any big pushes, with the front line in South America stabilizing. The main front line to look at is the, East Asian front line, as all sides would see them try to get land against each other, with the German around them attempting to try to put the Japanese fully out of the material, so which fail. Overall, the front line would by then start to slowly stabilize. By February, the Russians would push all the way to Seoul, with them disconnecting the Japanese Northern Korean front and South Korean front, with the Russians making rapid gains down south, threatening Daejeon. Meanwhile, with the Japanese attempting to hold out, but it would fail, with the Russians continuing to push down south with more and more troops. However, by March, the Russians would stop their push south due to the lack of forces, with them now concentrating on attack in North Korea, with them hoping to take Pyongyang. And by and by March 23rd, they would gain most of Pyongyang. Of course, this would end with a peace deal once again. Why is everyone having a peace deal all of a sudden? Except for the Third International Entente War. The one war that would have peace deal. I don't know why this war not having peace deal, despite the fact that it was just full-on stalemate, but whatever. Anyway, the Russians would, as part of the peace deal, would gain control of Siberia and would gain control over the Seoul region and the Gwangbuk region. And now Russia is sending troops to Japan, with the Russian dynasty soon after the Ukraine war on Finland, resulting in a war between the Moscow Accord and the Third International. In April of 1948, the Great War would begin. With the Russian faction quickly leaping on the opportunity to gain control over Croatia, with them making rapid gains, quickly taking the Vasco, the Greb, and quickly threatening Sarah with a capture of not only Sarah but of just Croatia in general. Meanwhile, the forces in Germany would make rapid work, with them quickly threatening Mensburg and holding out in Stuttgart and Würzburg, with the forces in Austria holding. Overall, the Russians would quickly either gain or hold ground, with the forces in Africa making, well, not any major gains, making small gains in Central Africa, with only minor losses in Northern Africa. Meanwhile, the Serbs would quickly focus their attention on trying to gain control of Sahara, with a war also occurring in Afghanistan, with the Afghan-Russian war occurring then. Overall, it was starting to become clear. Overall, quickly war would sprout throughout, not just across Europe, but across the world again, as more wars will occur for control over both Europe and Africa, as the French and the Russians would fight. Russia would continue their gains, with them threatening Woodstock and with them hoping to try to gain Frankfurt, with them quickly surrounding and slowly capturing block by block there, with also around this time the Russian making gains in Berlin, conquering the city of Udine and making small gains against the Italians, with the Italians themselves making gains in South Tyrol and Trento region. Meanwhile, the nuke would be dropped on June of 1948 in Paris, with the Russians now getting restocked, surrounding a commune of French army in a Third International Army in Hitler, Armenia, nothing wrong with that name, of course, and them making small, but still some small gains in other areas. I think they're gaining against Africa, or not. I mean, they might be gaining Africa. Are they gaining Africa? No, but they are getting in Afghanistan, with them hoping to end the Afghanistan front before focusing their forces once again onto Europe, with the Russians also making small but still some gains against Finland, with them slowly pushing and potentially threatening, and even somewhat threatening well, not really threatening, but they are making small gains with them like making conquering like southern Finland, with northern Finland joining the effect of no one really, the effect of not enough supplies, not resulting in anything. By August, the Russians would continue their push, with them gaining Venice and regaining self-control, with them also gaining Milan in August, and splitting off the southern Italy from the rest of the central and southern Italy from the rest of the Third International, with the captured Genoa, and they would begin threatening Bologna, with them capturing Bologna, Florence, and them pushing rapidly down south into a prepared push into Rome, with none of the other front changing. The war started to turn into a Russian upper hand, especially with small, but still some gains against. Okay, we're gonna say small, but still some gains against. But no, Afghanistan is making a small push back. Meanwhile, in September, Russia would capture Rome, continuing their push down south, with them capturing Naples, capturing Fallujah, and then quickly pushing down south into a prepared push into Beria and Taranto, which, if they captured this day, could result in the collapse of Italy, with hope for this to result in not only a push against France in the south, or a threat of a push against France down south, but also a big gain against the Socialist Republic of Germany, with a potential capture of both Hamburg and Hanover, along with a potential gain against Frankfurt. And by October, Italy would collapse, with the forces still remain fighting quickly getting care of. Overall, the Russians would utilize the weakness in the southern front line to make rapid gains, with a continued attack against the Social Republic of Germany, and with small gains against the Commune of France, including a gain in Nice. Overall, the Social Republic of the Third International would attempt a push into East Prussia, but would quickly lose control. But that would distract Russian forces for the Third International to prepare a defensive line against any potential pushes. Meanwhile, Afghanistan and Africa would both see no major gains by either side, with only constant fighting. While in Europe, Russia would, in a big push, would push fully out of the Alps mountains, with them, at least in the south, with them now preparing for a push into Marseille, and to utilize this push with a potential push in the north to gain control over all the land west of the Alps, or to gain control over all the Alps and some of the lands west of it. Meanwhile, in Germany, frontline would see very little changes, with by December the Afghanistan war turning into a bloody mess, with neither side having a clear advantage, both sides just seeing constant fighting. So Russia would still continue to attempt some pushes against France in the south, with the north becoming a stalemate. Meanwhile, in the German East Asian war against other countries, the German East Asia would collapse. There, I finally said it right. Woohoo! with the Japanese gaining control of the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia, with the coming national government gaining control over Indonesia, Indochina, not Indonesia. Japan gained that, and soon all sides would prepare for a second Chinese Civil War, with Russia still making very little gains, so they would prepare for a big push in Europe, in Germany, for potential gains. So it would result in none, with neither country being able to break the front line, with the third international losing control over both South and North America due to this war. Soon the war would become more and more of a stalemate, with the overall the road by January 1949 prepared for a long war and no short war, as neither side had a clear enough advantage to end the war quickly.